answer a couple of your questions. All right. Hello, everybody. So, got a few things to go over today, kind of some setup stuff, in particular the AWS. So, unlike that one, those who had me the first 8 weeks, we used that domain hosting site, free domain hosting site, and everything was kind of set up for us, which it is for this class as well. So, it might be easier than what we're going to look at today. But AWS is a huge thing, Amazon Web Services. It's a huge chunk of cloud computing in the world, like almost a third of it and growing. So it's definitely something we want to know. So mostly I included that as a playground for y'all. We have the credits available to go in there and click on things and learn our way around it. That's why I went ahead and set up the classroom and everything for this course. As far as grading it, with PHP, you have to actually send me the files, because if they're on the server, I'll never see your PHP code, just clicking on the link. So we don't necessarily need it for the submission in this class like you're probably using in the SDEV 250 class, the client-side scripting, or used in the SDEV 153 class. You have to actually send me the files here. But AWS is huge and takes a minute to learn a way around it. So I thought it'd be good to have it around to kind of familiarize yourself with it. So that's first thing on the list today. And then we'll do kind of the crash course on PHP syntax. Get started in that. Well, go over the crash course content-wise, all the stuff on the board. And then we'll do an HTML review, because some people may not have had that class for a little while. I know quite a few people on the roster had that class with me the first 8 weeks, so it was only a week ago, but some other people, it might have been a little while, so we'll do a quick review on HTML and some basic CSS. Hopefully it's not too far back in your mind, and then get started into the class examples. We'll see how time goes. I already considered that the first week's programming assignment may need pushed back, because I want to get a good solid start. So if we have to push that due date back and spend a little more time focusing on the core foundation as we get started, I have no problem doing that. So to start with, we're going to go through the AWS setup. Does anybody have any questions before we get started? Okay, I assume the silence means no questions. Did you all see that announcement I sent out? Had a couple pieces of software we need to work with AWS.
Yeah, so the Putty, I guess, and Flowzilla.
Yeah, Putty and FileZilla. Those are kind of
FileZilla. Yeah, I already had FileZilla, so
yeah. Okay, yeah, those are FileZilla has been the most popular FTP program for a long, long time, and Putty is like it's not part of Windows, but a whole lot more people use that on Windows machine than use the command prompt if they're doing SSH, because command prompt on SSH gets a little confusing, because you often end up, if you connect to a server with the command prompt, you end up doing Windows and Linux stuff in the same lines, and it gets very confusing. Most people just go with Putty instead. So we'll need those two softwares, because that's the first thing. Those who had me the first class, we looked at the first 8 weeks. We looked at it briefly on Tuesday, whatever day we met earlier. On Tuesday, we looked briefly at that domain host, and that was a domain host. Everything's set up. And because of the popularity of WordPress, everything's set up for PHP and MySQL. So the default version, everything we're going to study in this class, we can just upload right to pretty much any domain hosting site.
Okay, now one thing with that domain hosting site, I tried to put my stuff there, some stuff there, like for that bakery, and run it, and it gave me a 404 error. I mean, I'm pretty sure I had everything in the right places, And
we can look at it. 404 means it can't find the file.
Right. Yeah, I know. And I thought I had when I put it into my index, with the link to it to find it. Yet.
We will check that out at lab time today. I can take a look at it.
Okay.
Because It might be something navigating around the directory structure, or that's my first thought. And remember, Windows, where you typed it up on your Windows machine, is not case specific. But whenever you put it on the Linux machine, the capital letters make a difference.
Yeah, and that shouldn't have been an issue, but we'll look later.
Okay, we'll look at it in a little while. But yeah, that's a domain hosting. Somebody set up the servers, put everything on there that they thought people would need. If we have problems, we can contact them. AWS is a little bit different though. AWS is just the server. They just provide servers, and we have to set it all up the way we need it. So that's kind of what we're going to walk through here today is setting up a server. Yeah, because basically, excuse me, basically, we're getting ready to install an operating system and some other software on the server. So it doesn't even have an operating system on it. And since Linux classes and server admin classes are not a prereq for this, I assume y'all might not be exactly familiar with those parts. So I did go ahead and make a video. Really, it was when I was practicing for this lecture today. I went ahead and recorded the practice pass at it. So it's going to be essentially the same thing we're getting ready to go over, but it's those courses that knowledge isn't a prerequisite for this course, so you may not have had server administration stuff or worked with Linux systems before. Well, that's weird, but it's the page unresponsive. We try starting Google again. That first couple of days of that new feature in Google, has anybody seen that yet? It separates all your accounts. So you don't have to, they did better separation of accounts. You'll notice down in the icon of the profile pictures there. First couple of days were nice, but today it seemed to act up a couple times this morning. I was wondering if it was from that new update. Well, sorry, lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? So AWS is just the servers. We have to do all the administration stuff. So I made a video and a write-up that are essentially the same thing we're going to talk about here. Just while I was practicing for this. I guess to start with, it takes a lot of research. I am brand new to AWS myself. They were kind of slow getting my account set up. That's why we used the normal domain host in the first 8-week course, those who were in there. And I got a little bit of practice with it. So basically, about 4 weeks now, about a month I've got about a month's practice in it. So I'm not very far ahead of you on it. Actually using AWS, and it involves research. It was probably 4 hours yesterday just gathering information so that I could put this lesson plan together. When I set up for this course, I told them it started a week early, so that I was hoping to have a week to practice, but I guess maybe somebody knew the start dates at Ivy Tech, so it didn't start until the start date anyway. But yeah, probably the first about 4 hours yesterday was just researching how it was set up, what operating systems would work for us, how the directory structures are set up on them, what versions of the programming languages would be using them. So there's a bunch of that before even getting into it. So the reason I set this up is kind of like a playground. So the main thing you're going to do, we'll start with that, is you're going to come to Google and you're going to put in how to the thing we're getting ready to do, how to run PHP on AWS. You're going to put in stuff like that and check tutorials. So a whole lot of research getting involved with it. And AWS loves to update. I had to assemble the knowledge piece it together from lots of different tutorials, because even one from September 2020 was out of date. So be prepared for that. AWS is they're constantly growing and changing and updating. And once you figure out what's changed since the tutorial or reference material you find, it's usually a nice change, but there's a lot of research involved in setting this up. So we need to go to AWS Educate. I usually just search for it. There's an address to type in, but it's kind of a long address. I found it's quicker just to search for it. I believe you all can use the link in the email, right? Won't that take you right to the account? I have to go through here and sign in. I have a whole bunch of clicks before I get to a whole bunch of screens to click through before I even get to the classroom.
Yeah, I noticed that yours, it showed when I clicked on the classroom thing, you have a classroom, so I don't think Lloyd has got one. So.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So your classroom was there.
Yeah, I thought that's how we were supposed to set it up. Oh, can I get that button? Yeah. I could see the very corner of the button. It was behind the pictures. Yeah, I still have a few more clicks before I get there. I did finally find how to get the same view as you all. It took me a couple weeks to find that. This goes there. Normally I see that. I have the operating panel. Oh yeah, and something, it showed up in my other class, people said on that last page that I just left, I can see the list of where your credits went to, what money was spent on. And some people in the 265 class said that they could not see where their money went. They saw it going down, but they didn't have a receipt anywhere. So if you're curious as to what some things might have got spent on, just let me know and I can look those up. There should be some numbers here. Let me hit reload. There we go. Yeah, so I think from the link in the email, you'll see something like this, right? Says your account's active, the amount that's available. I started everybody with $50, but if you need more, I have a request credits button so I can ask for more money for you and how much time you spent on it. But the big one's this big blue button, AWS console. This is still part of the classroom, but when you click on this goes to the normal AWS console. So this is the people that aren't getting all those credits for part of the education system. This is where they start out. Like if you just go buy an AWS service, you'll start off on this. Probably go ahead and close the other ones, but I know it'll be all right. So here is all the features that we have. Huge list of things. And that's the big thing about AWS. You can see this. There's a lot of things available that we can work with. Whole lot of things. What we need is cloud computing. That is this basic one right up here, EC2. That's Elastic Cloud Computing version 2. But a virtual server. So you can click there. I'm going to go up here. Right here is where they hide domain navigation. So all of this stuff that's on this home page, which is kind of hard to get back to, if you click this button that says services, that's where that list of all the stuff we can get here is. You can see there's a lot of stuff, and we need EC2. So that's basically, yeah, that's the main navigation is that services button there. When you click that, you get to the EC2 dashboard. It'll give you some information about what's going on, how many instances are running, let's see, Elastic IPs, those are IP addresses you can change. We're going to talk about IP addresses versus domain names in a moment. Security groups, we have to set up security protocols, things like that. And instances, that's an instance of the server. So that's how many servers you have running. Well, how many servers you have in total and how many you have running currently. So we can have a number of servers? I think that was one of your questions, Joe's, like, how are we restricted to just one site? And we can put lots of sites on lots of servers. The restriction is $50 worth of stuff. And I can ask for more if you run through that $50. So to activate a new server, just scroll down a little. You see this big orange button for launch instance, which previously was up here in the corner. And while I was doing research yesterday, one of the things I saw is after they moved it down, people complained and said they liked it in the corner. So it's probably going to be back up in the corner before long, which makes sense because that's the button you need to click right off the bat. So it should probably be at the top of the page. But wherever right now, we have to scroll down a little to get to it. And you just want to click launch instance to activate a new server. And here's all the operating systems and stuff they have, different operating systems. We can go to shop for some that aren't already built in, and they'll get them set up for us because it's Amazon. But for us, the quick start will work. If you go to the quick start, up at the top, you should see Amazon Linux 2 AMI, all of that stuff. I'll kind of take a second before I click on it. Let you look at those numbers. You should see something that looks like that.
So we want to select that one.
Yes, and free tier eligible is nice. So even as you're playing around in the long run, learning stuff about it, a good place to start is probably the ones that say free tier eligible, because then you're not going to burn through that $50 a year. And I did everything I did is set up on the x86 version rather than the ARM. You probably heard those numbers before. Those refer to types of processors, the model of the processor, basically. So everything I got set up for this got prepared for this was on the x86 version. And we just select that one. And now there's a couple things we have to adjust here. So we don't hit the blue button yet. Don't launch it yet. We'll need that configuration button, the next button. So here's the types of servers, and one of them is free tier eligible. That will work for us. That way it doesn't burn through that $50, and you can spend it on more interesting features as you use AWS as a playground. So really just select one of those. The free tier eligible one will work for us, which should be what's selected by default. And then hit next to get to that configure stuff. Most of it will be okay, does it accept the defaults. So this page, configure instance, should be good on defaults for this. I'll take a second if you want to look and make sure your defaults look similar to mine here. The one here, network, might be different, but it'll probably start with VPC still. That's virtual private cloud, so you probably have a different virtual private cloud than I do. Definitely got to have subnetting enabled. But yeah, the defaults here should be good. And next, then hit next for configuring storage. And again, the defaults should be good. It starts with 8 gig of storage on an SSD drive. Two types of drives. We have the solid state, where it's like a flash drive, where we flash all the data back and forth at once and can move, and it's more efficient to move small chunks of data back and forth, separate our data in small pieces, or the disk drives, where there's actually a spinning piece there. So it's more efficient to group all the data together. That way we only have the disk spin to it once and then read it all off at once. So 8 gig of SSD would be fine here. It should be the default. We hit next again. We don't need any tags. And so hitting next again, this is the one we have to change. So this is security group. So basically, how is it going to be accessed? So we'll need a couple things here. We'll just make sure it's a new one. You can set up an existing one, but it's probably easier just to click new and let it automatically set one up for you. Unless you're just really big into security and want to manually handle all that yourself. You can just hit create new and give it a name if you need to. I'm just going to leave this name. And the type of access we have to the server. So we'll need a couple types here. Ultimately, we'll need 3 types, but we're just going to do 2 today. And then we'll come back and do the MySQL stuff later as sort of a refresher on this halfway through the semester, I guess. The first one we need is SSH. That's Secure Shell. And essentially, that means we are going to access this server command prompt style. It's a Linux server, so there's command line stuff. So we definitely need Secure Shell to access a Linux machine. So we need SSH, which should be on port 22, and then make sure the source is set to zeros. So this is a security and authorization type thing. So source is who can access it. So if you knew you were always going to be accessing the server from the same machine and wanted that little bit extra security, you could set it so that only that one client could access it. But and just type by putting in the IP address of that particular client you want to have access to it. But all zeros means any machine can access it. And we're going to be accessing this from different machines, most likely. So you want to make sure that's all zeros for here and just that way you can access it from any machine. And description is just sort of a name to keep track of it, because like I just said, you could restrict which clients can or even able to access the server. That way, there's only 2 or 3 machines in the entire world that could access that server, which adds a whole lot of security, because then if somebody wants to hack into it, they have to go to one of those machines. And if you limit the number of machines, you probably want to put a name on it. That way you can keep track of which machine is which. So we need SSH, port 22, all zeros. And that's how we'll pass in the command prompt. It's Linux command line instructions in order to configure our server. Here in a few minutes, install an Apache operating system and some of the PHP language. Install the operating system in the PHP language. So that's our access to it. Oh, there's something in the chat room. Let me check that. I do not like disappearing buttons. Okay, it looked like a sentence started getting typed there, but it was just the first couple letters. I'm not a big fan of disappearing buttons. Those who've had me in class before have heard me say that. That always aggravates me in Zoom, the way the buttons disappear and reappear, and oftentimes in different places. Makes it hard to click them. Oh, yes, if you need to do this later, I did the lecture I'm giving here. I went ahead and recorded my practice for the lecture. So there's a video on Ivy Learn going over all this stuff and a write-up. The write-up will probably be nice because from the document, you can copy and paste the Linux instructions right in. So along with those command line instructions, well, we're going to be making web pages, right? It's PHP. We're going to use databases and web pages. So we're going to want to access this through HTTP. So we click that little arrow along with SSH. We also want HTTP, which should be on port 80. And we want any machine to be able to access that web page. So definitely all zeros there. And eventually we're going to need MySQL, but I want to come back halfway through the semester and do that just as a refresher on this, in case you don't see it again until then. That way it's somewhere in the back of your mind. But I am going to go ahead and click on the HTTP. Whoops, not IMAP. Not doing emails. I'm going to do HTTPS as well. I'll go ahead and set up the secure one. The non-secure one will work for us, but it doesn't hurt to have it on there. So SSH on port 22, HTTP on port 80, those are the ones we need, and then the secure hypertext transfer on port 443. And once you get those set in there, so that anybody can access it, especially the web pages. We don't want to restrict who can see our web pages. Once you get all that, then we're ready to review and launch. So you hit that button and kind of see all the details about it. And if you missed any of that, we can come back and adjust it later. It's not like it's not locked in place. We have, Amazon is just giving us a server here, so we have full control over that server. We can do whatever we want to it. This is just a nice, easy wizard to get everything set up to begin with. We can come back and do all that stuff later. But if everything looks good, hit the launch button, and we'll need some key pairs to access it. So with key pairs, it's a lot more secure than the password. They go together. So Amazon will keep one of them, and we'll keep the other one. It's a private and a public key, and we'll have a copy of it. And anytime we go to log on to our server, basically we'll show our key to Amazon, and it makes sure it matches the other half of the pair that they kept, and that's the authorization instead of a password. A lot more secure. So we need to create a new pair. So we'll create a new key pair from this drop-down menu and give it some sort of name. I'm going to call this PHP-class. So whatever you want to call it, something to keep track of. Something to keep track of it, because you'll probably set up several servers, and each one of them is going to have their own keys, so you're going to need to keep track of it. Just create a new key pair, give it a name to keep track of it, and then download that. And we'll deal with that. We'll get to that in a moment, because one thing, notice down here when I downloaded it, it's a .pem. They're Amazon. Like Google, they do their own thing, and .pem is not the standard format of keys. So here in a moment, one of those things that installed with that PuTTY software is a thing that will convert that to the standard format, and it will still work for us, but it will also work in other software. So yeah, Amazon, they're big enough that they do what they want. So we'll convert that to the standard format for keys here in just a moment. But once you have that downloaded, you'll just hit launch instance. And it's now launching. It should only take a couple seconds to boot up, get all this confirmation stuff. But that was an EC2 server, so we need to go back to the EC2 dashboard to access it. So back in the main navigation, the services, we're going to click on EC2 to get back to that dashboard.
Slow down for just a sec. I'm trying to follow you, but I'm trying to get back to that dashboard, and it's like I can't seem to find it.
Oh, do you see the button up here? It says services.
Let me see. Heck, where am I? Oh, okay. I got the console. Hang on a second. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. I'm at the AWS Management Console. So where am I going?
Into EC2.
I'm back. I'm going to click back on EC2. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Just did. All right. I got you.
Yes. And yeah, just like that, if anybody needs me to hold on, just interrupt me. With Zoom call, I know through years and years of school, it was probably drilled into your head about being polite and stuff, but that just doesn't work on Zoom calls. You just got to yell. You just got to yell in Zoom calls. And so, yeah, don't hesitate to interrupt me if we need to pause and go back.
I generally panic and yell.
It's perfect for a Zoom call. But yeah, so many people in a classroom, it's been drilled into their heads since kindergarten to, sit quietly and raise your hand and all that. And that just doesn't work in a Zoom call. But once we're here, now we can go in and manage that instance. So click on instances.
Okay.
It should pull up the list of these.
The list of one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's got some really screwball instant ID. Who knows what that means, but some really goofy string, right?
Yep. Oh, it put mine at the top instead of the bottom. I was expecting it at the bottom. I was like, I gotta look through this. Yeah, and at one point getting ready yesterday, I had a whole bunch of things going. So you don't have to keep them up.
But if I've been doing this with you, I should only have one instance, correct?
Yes, unless you already had one.
No. I have never done this part of it. I've done the S3 part. I've never done this part.
Okay. Yeah. And like you just pointed out, Joe, that ID, we're never going to keep track of that. So over here, there's a name column. And when you hover over it, there's an edit button. One of those that's supposed to look like a pencil writing on paper.
What do you suggest we call it, since I'm going to go ahead and do it since I pulled it up?
Whatever is useful to keep track of it. Because the name here does not matter.
What is it? It's just, are we going to have more instances for this class?
No, we won't need it. So you can just give it the class name. So I was going to name mine the same as the key to keep track of it. PHP class. PHP-class. Because this name here is only for your benefit. This is only for your benefit when you're looking at the AWS console so that you can tell which one's which. This name won't apply anywhere else. So that's just to keep track of it.
Okay.
And then now we can click on that instance ID and go in and see the stuff about this. So here's what the console looks like. I can move these pictures over here. Oh, nice. That navigation down the left fits nicely behind the Zoom pictures so that they're not in the way. So you'll notice a bunch of information about it. The most important one that we'll need is right here.
Which one's that? Oh, okay.
Public IP version 4 address. So we're going to copy and paste this all over the place. Another thing, those who use that free domain host with me the first 8 weeks, remember they gave us a name. Like we were able to ask for something, and then they tacked on some other stuff and either approved it or not. But there was an actual name. Names cost money. This is not a host, so they this is just the server. So what we have is the actual machine address. So if you need a name, you have to go. If you want a name for your website and stuff, you'll have to buy a name. So we'll copy and paste this a lot. There's a link right beside it, but I have never yet got that link to work. So I just copy and paste this everywhere.
Okay. Where do you suggest we paste it first?
Well, I was going to keep this panel open so that we can just copy and paste it as we need it.
Oh, okay.
Everything's set up. We just kind of scroll. I don't know what that error message is about. It did it on everything I worked with. And down here at the bottom, there's different tabs. So like if you miss some of those security protocol setups, you can come in here and relaunch a wizard to get them set back up. And same thing with all those others. We can do the control, but for us right now, what we need is just this.
What are we doing now? Oh, so we've copied that address, right?
Yeah, we will need to we'll be back and forth to copy and paste that a few times.
Right.
So mostly just take note of where that is. That's the one we're gonna use. That's where our machine is located at. We can
wait. Is the private one or the public one?
The public.
A public one. Oh, okay. I got the wrong one. Okay.
Yes, and it's all connected, so you can just double click on an address and highlight the whole thing at once. Makes it easy to copy and paste. Just double click on it and it'll highlight the whole thing. Or Amazon, this is a copy button for it. Got the copy button before it. But I always just double click on them. So that server is up and running. Now we need to do stuff with it, I think. Let me double check my notes. I think we're ready to jump over to Putty. Oops. Set that up, get the keys. All right, so now we're ready to jump over to Putty.
So we're gonna launch Putty then.
Almost. Before we launch Putty, when we installed it, there were several pieces of software, and that thing that was mentioned about how Amazon does their own thing. Before we launch Putty, we need to convert that key Amazon gave us to the standard format of keys.
Right. Okay.
But everybody except Amazon does. So we can do that with Putty Gen. It should have installed.
Wait, what?
So I went to the start menu.
There it is. Putty. Oh, probably the last thing on the list. Putty. Okay, I found it.
Yeah. So open Putty Gen.
Or Putty Generator. Right? Key generator. Okay.
Yep. And we can load in that key they gave us. So hit the load button.
Oh, wait a minute. There it is. Okay. So we go
load. And then downloads, you should have a key. But notice it's looking for a .ppk file. That's the standard format. That's the format that we can count on every piece of software being able to use.
Wait a minute. So, when I look at my download file,
you're probably not seeing anything, right?
Right.
So notice down here at the bottom where it says file type.
Yeah.
Switch that to all files.
All righty. Now we're cooking. PCP class, blah, blah, blah.
Yep. So just select that one. And it imported it, but we need to convert it. So you can just hit OK on that message.
Okay.
And then you can see up there, that's what the key looks like. SSH, RSA key, and everything else is binary encryption.
Oh, I accidentally hit the generate button.
So just go to load and bring the new key, that key back in. Because the key we have has to match what Amazon expects us to have.
Okay, I just did something. Oh, okay. I mean, that's yours. Hang on. Problem is I'm looking at your screen, my screen, everybody's screen, and it's a mess.
Oh, yeah.
Geez, I'm so screwed up now. I don't know. I take a nap.
If you're not sure what's going on, maybe close Putty Gen and open it back up because it only does the one thing.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so okay, so I'm going to reload the key from the all files. Sorry, I'm such an idiot. Okay, so I've got that opened and I'm not hitting any more buttons. Okay, so
this is brand new. I mean, this is this is some of this is stuff that I don't expect anybody in here to know yet because it wouldn't have shown up in classes.
Okay, well,
that's why we're going to be going kind of slow.
Okay, so I'm on the I haven't done anything with it yet spot.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody else is following along with this, but
ours is the private key. So save this as a private key. And then Amazon has a public key and they have to match up.
Okay, so I'm going to hit the save private key button.
Yes, save private key.
And it says, am I sure? Yes.
You can put a passphrase that's not required.
Yeah.
I always leave the passphrase blank. Keys are pretty secure.
And I'm going to save it as.
And save it someplace where you will not change it or move it or anything.
Oh boy.
So it needs to sit there and is going to be reliable. So on my school stuff folder, I have a folder called keys. I'm just going to put it in here, but put it in the permanent spot now, because this is the one we're going to refer to, and all our software is going to look for the key here.
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna. Oh God, I got nowhere to put it. Shit, Chris, I know. I wish I knew. I knew you're going to need this. I could.
You just want to save it someplace that you can keep track of it, someplace that you will know where to find it.
Okay.
I guess it's okay to move it. You just have to browse for it again. Your software will.
Oh, I made something.
Okay.
I made something. So then I got to give it a name. PHP class probably.
Yeah, I always give them the same name. They're different file types, so it won't get confused or anything. It wouldn't hurt to keep that the one Amazon gave us in that same folder as well, but they're different file types, so it won't confuse them or anything.
Well, because all I did was load and save private key. That's all I've done.
Yep. Load and save private key, and that's all we have to do here.
In other words, when I loaded it, it automatically changed it over, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. It's kind of like a text file, right? The extension is almost arbitrary. But the extension Amazon uses, because it's a binary file. It's ones and zeros. It's a computer-only file. We're looking at base 64 encoding here.
So I close the key generator now, right?
And now we can go to regular PuTTY. So now scroll back to that folder, go to the start menu, and the regular PuTTY.
So PuTTY. Just regular PuTTY.
So this has our configuration stuff.
Yeah.
Right here in this first box, you'll see the host name or IP address. So we didn't go buy a name for our thing yet, so we have to use IP address. So this is the first part. We'll have to copy this IP address.
Oh, okay.
So from over in the dashboard, we're gonna copy that.
Oh, Jesus.
Control C or right click and copy.
Oh man.
And then paste that right in here.
Wait a minute. This is all fouled up. God, I've lost everything. Chris, I'm ready to just give up here.
Don't give up.
Well, seriously, I can't find where I was. I mean, it just left. So I gotta go back to it. I don't know where and how, but hang on a minute. I'm sorry, folks. I'm screwing us up.
That's all right. I was expecting this to take a little while. Okay. But I already, before even putting this stuff together for the day, I was already planning on pushing homework.
I had to go back to EC2, and I want to go to, in EC2, I'm going to what, instances again?
The EC2 instances, click on this instance, and then you'll be able to copy the public.
Okay, now I'm back here. Okay. And I'm looking for what? Private IVP or IPv4 address, correct?
The public, because we're accessing it from somewhere else. So we need the public one.
Okay. And I know mine's got something like 100.25. Does that sound like a?
So 4 numbers separated by dots.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you'll learn what those numbers mean. It's
yeah, it's all hex.
The breakdown of the
And there's going to be a V6 one of these days, and
that's how computers recognize each other.
Okay,
there's version 6. There's other versions. 4 and 6 are just the big ones, but obviously there's a 1, 2, 3, and 5, right? But 4 and 6 are the big ones. We'll paste that in.
Okay.
And 22.
Right. Okay. That was already there.
And then we have to provide our key. So over in the navigation on the left on SSH, if you expand that menu,
where
over on the left, PuTTY.
Yeah.
expand SSH.
Oh, I see.
And then auth. It's abbreviated, but it's clearly authorization.
Yeah, and I expand that as well.
We don't have to expand that. If you just click on the top level one, right at the bottom here, you'll see browse for a file button. That's where we grab our key. So
okay, that's why I have to put it somewhere I can find it.
Yeah, and then browse to where that key is.
And it should be what, PPK or some sort of goofy thing.
Yes, a .ppk file.
I think we just did.
Yeah, it should look like that little icon that's on mine. That's the putty icon.
Well, I can't see because I had the full screen me to see enough to.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as you found the file. And
okay, and it's wherever it is in my file structure, which is why I don't ever want to move it.
Yep. So we told it where to go and the private key that assures we have access. So then we just hit open. And you should see this message right here.
A security alert?
Yep.
And what do I tell it?
We will say yes, because PuTTY doesn't recognize that server. But this is the first time it's ever connected to that server, so obviously it's not going to recognize it.
So we just told it was fine.
Yes. Just say yes, it's fine.
And then it should have opened a window that says 100 whatever my address is -PuTTY.
Yep. It says login as. And so this is going to remind you of back in the 80s, Joe.
Oh, I remember these days. Oh yeah, before Windows.
Yes, because before
I'm old enough to remember. I'm old enough to remember before Windows.
Yeah. So before we get to where we can before FileZilla is set up, we're going to open the text editor, command prompt text editor. That's going to remind you of the 80s a lot. Okay. Most everybody else is probably too young to have ever seen that. And if you ever see that security message again, that will be a problem because PuTTY will remember this server now. So you'll only see that the first time. And the default username is EC2-user. So unless you changed it, which you would know what you changed the user to.
Okay. EC2- like a single dash.
Yep.
Again, because I'm not looking at your screen because I'm almost full screened here.
EC2-user and then hit enter.
Let's see what happens. Whoops.
Yeah. It should say authenticated.
Yep.
Should be a message authenticated with public key.
Mm-hmm.
Imported, and then say Amazon Linux 2 AMI.
Yep.
And then we get to a prompt, a bash prompt. We have the $sign, and it should have the private IP showing now.
I recognize it. Yeah, I recognize that number. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to access it through the public one, but once we get there, notice where it automatically switched over to the private IP.
Okay.
So now we need to do some administrative stuff. This is the regular Linux file management stuff. We need to go to the root folder and do administrative stuff. So to do that, type sudo space su. So SUDO space FU.
Okay.
And then that takes us, now it should say root at that private IP.
Right.
And at the end, it should say EC2-user.
Mine looks exactly like yours. I don't know if anybody else is playing, but.
Yeah. So now we're ready to update this, hopefully. So first thing, I'm sure everything's up to date, but I wanted to check this just to make sure this is going to work. So we type sudo. That's just, we're going to type sudo on pretty much every line.
What does sudo mean?
I'm not sure what it abbreviates for, but it has to do with we're on a Windows machine operating Linux, sending Linux commands.
Okay.
So somewhere in the translation.
All right.
It might just, I'm not positive what the abbreviation is, but yeah, when you're on a Windows, when you're typing on a Windows machine and sending it to a Linux system, you type sudo on pretty much every line. And yum, that has to do with, that's a package set together.
Why UM, just like the Yum Center?
Yeah, that's a package that goes with the Amazon Linux 2 stuff. Then update space -y. And
update, wait a minute, you're a bad typist here. Update space -y. Okay, I think that's right.
And it should be up to date. I mostly just do this in here to make sure it recognizes yum.
Okay.
So did anybody get an error message that
nope.
Anybody following along get an error message?
Nope. No packages marked for update. Blah blah blah. Okay.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, because if you got a message that says yum is an unrecognized command, then we have some more complicated stuff to do, and get with me in lab time or something, and we'll get that all straightened out. We're going to use that to install our operating system. It's like the pre-built library of things that before we really put an operating system on here. So we can install it. So once again, we need sudo. Sudo yum. Sudo, use the yum package. Only this time we're going to install -y, and then don't hit enter yet. We have to say what we're going to install. So sudo yum install -y, and then the stuff we want to install. And the first of those is Apache. And Amazon has a modified version of Apache they use. So we type HTTPD24 in the space.
Wait a minute. HTTPD24.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's what I got.
And, we can go ahead and install everything at once. So the next one is we need PHP. So do PHP space 7.2. That's version 7.2. If I believe it's automatically going to roll us back to version 5 because of what we're getting ready to do with the next one we're getting ready to type. But it'll try to update that whenever it can. Okay. So there's something looking ahead there in the future. But PHP 7.2 is what we're using for the class.
Space.
And we need MySQL. So MySQL, MySQL, D57.
Okay.
/server.
Now, is there any spaces?
No spaces. Let me make mine a little wider so it fits.
Well, yeah, mine's kind of hidden behind my stuff. So
one more thing here. We installed Amazon's custom version of Apache. That's what this is. Install PHP 7.2, the language we want to use.
Right.
Then we installed MySQL, but we need to make sure PHP and MySQL connect. To do that, type PHP 7.2, no space this time. So there's a space the first time, but the second time, no space, -MySQL ND.
ND as like no dice.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it should look like this. Sudo yum install -y and HTTP D24.
Oh, okay, well, okay. It's install space -y, right?
Yes.
Space -y space HTTPD 124 space. Go ahead and keep reading it off because our
PHP space 7.2 and no dots or anything. Those numbers.
Right. Yeah. Just all letters and numbers.
All letters and numbers and dashes. Then MySQL D57 -server.
Right.
Then space and PHP 7.2 dash MySQL ND.
Yeah. It at least reads correctly. So
yeah. So when you hit enter, it should do a whole bunch of
pray.
stuff.
Oh, it did a bunch of junk and it's still going. It's going crazy. And then it says complete.
Yep, we had to install an operating system. That's kind of a big thing.
Well, I know, but God, that was quick.
So hopefully it works now. We can check, except for one thing. All we did was install it. We have to boot it up. So to do that, sudo, what was the order that way? HTTP, I think there's a D here. HTTP D.
Yep, I got that.
Oh, I forgot a word. Sudo space service space HTTP D start. And as long as there's no error message that'll work. It doesn't confirm it. It doesn't really confirm it very well here, but
it says it's redirecting, and yeah, mine looks just like yours.
Okay, as long as it doesn't say error, it should work. So hopefully the site's up now.
That means all this junk is running.
It should be. So if we go over to the browser and open a new tab.
Wait. So what am I? So am I getting out of potty?
Leave it open. Don't close it. We still have more stuff to do.
Okay, so I'll just hit the space. Okay, so now where am I going?
If we open up a new tab in the browser.
Our browser. Okay.
And now copy that public IP version 4 address again. So copy that and paste that in the address bar.
Okay, so I gotta. Well, wait a minute. I gotta find it. Oh, fiddlesticks. This is not going to be easy. It means I got to find it first.
Yeah. There's a little link beside it, but I have never got that link to work. So I just copy and paste it into address bars as well. Okay. But we don't have we haven't bought a name. So all we have is the machine, how the machines know each other.
Okay. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Okay. I'm doing the wrong thing. That's my problem. Okay. So if I want to go here, where did it go? Oh, there we go. So I want the public one or the private one? Public?
The public.
Public. So I want to take that and I want to copy it and then paste it in my address bar. All righty.
Yep. Because we're just going in from a browser, and you should see the default Apache test page.
Yep. It says if you're a member of general public and if you're a website administrator, and it's powered by Apache with the that sweet Apache logo.
So that is an index page that comes on Apache. So we can replace that. Right now, I'm just going to put some other stuff nearby to make sure the PHP is working.
Oh, wait,
we need a PHP file, but we haven't set up things for file transfer yet. So we have to type our PHP here.
Where am I typing it?
So back to PuTTY.
Back to PuTTY.
And what we want to type in, let me find it in my notes. Touch testing. So again, type sudo, then the word touch, and then PHP file. Whatever I'm going to call it testing.php. So sudo touch testing.php will create a file for us.
Okay.
In Linux, file creation doesn't get a confirmation. It just
so really I won't see anything different.
Well, you can put ls. That's list out what's in the folder we're looking at. Oh wait, I just put that in the wrong spot. I skipped a step. I'm sorry. So I'm going to clear this. You can type clear to clear out what's on the screen. I just created that in the wrong folder. It won't hurt anything. Let's go to the folder it needs to be, because we are not in an HT docs. Okay? One of the customizations that Amazon made to their version of Apache here is they renamed that folder HTML, which makes more sense. But we need to go to that folder. So the first thing we have to do is change directory, which for Linux is CD, and we have to go up. So CD space ... to go up a level.
Okay, so it's not backslash, it's dot, dot. Okay.
Dot, dot.
I remember CD.
And so now we're in the home, but we want to go all the way back up until we get to.
Okay, oh, it says
folder
home.
that's
It says
just
home.
home
Okay,
slash.
it says home.
Yeah, so if we do that again, CD dot dot, there it is. When the folder doesn't have a name, it's just a slash, that means we're back at the root.
Oh,
Go all the
okay.
way back up to the root, and then we have to go into parallel folders. So one more time, CD, but now we're going down, so we can go all the way down at once. There's a folder called var.
What's that? Wait. VAR?
VAR,
Var.
short for variables things.
Right.
Then www folder.
Yeah.
/HTML. And that's the folder we want to go to. And that's something you have to learn. Every server operating system is going to do that differently. So if you try different flavors of Linux, you have to figure out where those need to be. So this is where we put our files. Now, that line I typed too early a moment ago. We need to create that file.
It looks like I'm going to write it. So it's sudo
touch.
So what command? What does touch mean?
Touch creates the file. I think it's a pre-built software that creates files, but it's just something built into that was included in that package we installed everything from to create files.
Okay. And I hit the return.
Yeah, and it's Linux, so we don't get any confirmation message. But if we don't get an error, that means it was created. And we can type ls to see everything in this folder. That's short for list.
And it just, okay, and it's just showing the one file, okay, which doesn't have anything in it yet.
Yeah, so we need to edit it. There's a couple ways to do it. There's this VI thing. I can't remember what that's short for, but we can type right here. A better one is included here. If we do sudo nano and then that file name. So nano is a very small text editor, kind of like the name implies. Nano, very, very small editor. And for you, Joe, this is probably going to look familiar. When
yes,
you enter it, looks like the 80s stuff again, right?
I got a blank old screen. It's like I'm in Notepad++, except it ain't as pretty.
Hey, yeah, see the stuff at the bottom? That's our command. Mouse, your mouse doesn't work here. So it's old style stuff. But the keyboard works, so we can put in a file.
Okay, so wait a minute, I'm trying to, okay, hang on. I don't type near as fast as you do.
So all the HTML stuff we're used to. And I'm going to put in a regular HTML tag and the PHP echo. That way they confirm both of them are looking like they should. So I'll just do like a header tag that says.
Well, you'll be willing to stop in a moment and let those who type much more poorly than you do.
Yes.
Tab key works, it looks like.
Yeah. The tab key is one of our key ones. ASCII code number 9, I think, might be 30. Somewhere near the beginning, 9, 10, somewhere between 9 and 13. Let's see. So I'll put a PHP tag in here. And
like I said, I'm about 3 steps behind you, boss. So
on mine, the PHP changed colors, so that's a good sign. Looks like the PHP one. I'll just put some confirmation echo on that PHP.
Okay, what do you call this, page loader?
I just put page loaded, just some words to confirm that it's showing. This is just a quick confirmation test, making sure the PHP.
Okay, well, and you'll be like I said, you'll be willing to. That's what our mouse doesn't work.
Yeah, you got to use the arrows, like the 80s again.
Okay, hang on. I'm trying, whoops, I can't do that either. I keep forgetting it doesn't work. Okay. Because I'm trying to.
Yeah, so the things that at the bottom aren't buttons. That's the menu showing us what to push. And yeah, it'll be just a few minutes. In just a few minutes, we will have where we can upload files and use the modern text editor with the nice.
Oh, hang on, I'm just finally getting to the PHP part, boss. So it's like I said, I'm really terribly slow. Oh yeah, it does change color.
It doesn't matter with modern text editors, right? Like Adam types 90% of that for us.
Okay, what did we echo? Looks like
hello world would be the standard. I just threw some random words on there. Because if we see them, then
looks
we
like
know
Team Spirit.
Like,
looks like Team Spirit. I don't know. Okay, now, okay, it didn't change. It did change color once I put the final nail in the coffin. Okay. Okay, I think I'm where you're at.
Okay, and now we have to do those 80s style things. So that when you see the caret down here in the menu, that means control. So to exit, hit Control X. And then, yes, we want to save. We definitely want to save that. So Y to save.
Uh-huh.
And we want to save it 2 files. So Control T for 2 files.
Where was that? Control T. Okay, I see it.
Yep. And then you have to use the arrows to scroll over to that file we created.
Right. So what?
And then you can hit enter.
I just hit enter once it's gray.
Yep. Once it's highlighted, hit enter, and it should go back here.
Yep, it did.
If we do ls-l, we should see it's no longer. I was expecting the size. It doesn't say the size here. I can't remember what gives file size in Linux. I don't stay up to date on Linux. Like once a year or so, I kind of review the Linux commands, so I don't completely forget them.
If my son were behind me, he would tell me what to do. He loves Linux, but I don't know what about Linux.
Yeah, it's not bad. I know this stuff. It just doesn't stay fresh in my mind because I never use it. Like once a year, I usually have to make it a point to review all of it so that I don't completely forget it. So that gives us our file. So now we should be able to go over to the browser and see that. So if we go back over to our browser.
Right.
Our IP address is the home. That's the index page. So to get to the other one, we can do / and then the name of that file.
Wait a minute. Oh, I'm lost.
Do you see my screen?
Yeah, I see yours. So
I still have that public IP address. Yours is going to be different.
Okay. Oh, I got to find it again. Hang on a minute. I got a mess. What the heck? I hit a button I shouldn't have hit. Okay, so I got to go back to that public IP address again. I have to write that dumb thing down because I'm tired of looking at it.
Yeah, you can copy it to a text editor, text file or something where you have it someplace easier to find. But yeah, we'll need it a lot.
.25.183.209
hike. Okay, I got it, I think.
And then /
file. B. Okay, well, it's gonna be / or slash.
Oh, I put in the wrong slash. It's a / a regular address. Sorry.
Okay.
It's just a regular /.
Now, wait a minute. Do I have to? I don't have to. Wouldn't you go to the directories? Because it's already. It's going.
We put it right. So when Amazon did their custom version of Apache, instead of calling it htdocs, they called that folder HTML because they thought that made more sense.
Okay, but I don't have to put any other crazy stuff.
And you should see.
Page loaded. Yep, exactly what I did.
All right, so that all works.
I think there's a record. I think there's a record, Chris. It actually worked.
Yeah.
Something I did actually work. That's amazing.
There's just a lot of steps to it. If you all would have, if the Linux class was a prerequisite for this, and at least one server admin class was a prereq for this, y'all would have known what to do already. But those aren't prereqs. Let's see. Did that. So now we can go ahead and set up the upload, set things up for file transfer protocol.
So we're going back to EC2. We're back to EC2 now, or we're in PuTTY still.
So keep PuTTY open because we're going to get an error, but I want to see that error before we fix it instead of fixing it. And
okay, so I'm going to go back to EC2 then. Where am I going?
So we will still need to copy the address, so you'll need that in a minute. Now we're going to FileZilla.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, keep PuTTY open because there's an error. I like to see the errors before we fix them instead of just saying type these words and not knowing what that's addressing.
Okay, so I don't know about anybody else, but I've got FileZilla open.
Okay, yeah. So in FileZilla.
And hopefully yours looks like mine. So this is easy.
If you haven't seen this, so SSH is a command line connection. That's secure shell. We're passing in one instruction at a time. But we usually write files at a time, an entire file. So we want to use FTP, file transfer protocol, and send an entire file at once.
Right.
And this has a nice little GUI to work with. We don't have to remember all those commands. So over on the left-hand side is your machine. If you scroll around there, the folders should look familiar.
Yeah, it looks like me.
Over on the right-hand side will be the client when we connect. But before we connect, remember we have a key. We didn't use a password. We have that public-private key pair. We have we have to connect to that key. So if you go to edit and settings.
Okay, edit and hang on. Edit and settings. Okay.
Edit settings, and then from the navigation, choose SFTP. That's Secure File Transfer Protocol.
Okay.
And
I can't see your window because too much of my junk's blocking it. But I've got a little box with file name, comment, and data. And it says, and I think at the bottom says add key file.
Yes, as long as you see that button that says add key file, you click on that and browse to the key.
Okay, add key file and browse to my key. Okie doke. This is going to take a minute.
Yeah, and if you can't see my screen, Joe, I have several on here. So we can just make a huge list of keys, a huge array of keys, and FileZilla will just keep track of them for us.
But right now, I'm just going to take my php-class.ppk key and open it, right?
Yep. Just hit that, and it should add it to a list.
Yep,
or
it did.
Probably the only thing on yours right now.
It says file name, comment, and data.
Yep. So then just hit OK, and we're ready to connect.
Oh, wait a minute. Where did OK go? Oh, there it is. Down at the bottom of the left side. Okay, okay.
So yeah, now we're ready to connect. So we need that IP address again, our public IP address.
That same one that I'm just going to type in because it's faster than.
Yeah, I mean it's only four at most 12 digits. So we'll need that.
I just wrote it down and typed it in. It's faster. And
our
then
protocol is different. In the browser, we use HTTP, right? And we always use HTTP, so we don't actually have to type the protocol. With FileZilla, we do have to specify our protocol, which is SFTP and // anytime we enter a protocol, // means protocol. So secure file transfer protocol, and then your public IP address.
Okay, I'm good.
Username, again, if you didn't change it, it should be EC2-user. You can leave password blank because we use the key, not a password. And then the port number will be 22.
Oh, yeah.
And then, yeah, because we'll just use that secure shell port we left open. Hit enter, and it should connect.
Okay, you mean the quick connect? Wait a minute. What did it just do? I just got invalid file error.
I'm gonna have to see what error you got. I'm gonna stop my screen share. You want to share can you share your screen real quick, Joe?
Okay, I'm gonna put the port back in and quick connect and see what happens. Okay, here we go. I don't know. Can I share screen? I'm totally screwed up here. So I'm trying to get back to us. I can't seem to, wait a minute. I'm all screwed up. Gosh, you got me so screwed up now. I don't even know where I'm at.
Did it give the error message again?
Yeah, it says invalid XML file or some dumb thing. I don't know. I think it's time for my nap.
Oh, did it connect though?
No, I don't think so. Let's talk about, remember passwords and everything, and I'm just gonna cancel out of that again. Let me just type this again, this whole mess.
Okay, yeah.
File transfer protocol. Okay, it's SFTP : two slashes 125.183 3.29. Okay, and after I've got all those numbers, I don't put anything else, right?
That'll be it.
And port 22. Same thing. And I'm so screwed up right now. I don't know how to share my screen at this point. Half my stuff's half off the screen. I can't get to the share screen button. Okay, here I go. Share screen. Okay,
let me stop my screen share so I can see what the error message looks like.
Okay, I'm going to share screen. And
anybody else have any problems?
Here. Okay, can you see mine now?
Invalid XML file. Why is it loading an XML file?
I don't know. I didn't tell it to.
Hit OK. And go back to the edit.
And cancel that, obviously. I don't want to say password until I know what the problem is. So I'll go back to edit. Okay, edit.
Yeah, and settings. Under SFTP. That should be okay. Hit OK.
Okay. Assuming my key was okay.
Yeah, if it worked on PuTTY, it should have worked here. And then go to port 22 and just hit enter.
Well, quick connect.
Oh, don't hit quick connect. Quick connect is what it's remembering previous ones.
Oh, okay. So where the heck's the enter button? I can't find the dumb thing.
Oh, on your keyboard.
Oh, enter. Okay.
Error loading XML file. What?
I didn't know I had an XML file. Well, hang on. Let me go back. Okay, how do I re-import that key to make sure I didn't screw this up?
Go back to edit and settings.
Okay.
SFTP.
Yeah. And add key file.
Yeah. Yeah, it should just show on the list. Yeah, that's the right one.
Selected file is already loaded, so it's the same. So that key is already, the key's right.
Yeah. The key is not an XML file. I'm not sure why it's trying to load XML anywhere. We can look at it in a moment. The last thing we have to do is set permissions, and we'll do that in PuTTY. And in the lab time today, we'll get FileZilla straightened out. Will that work, Joe?
Yeah, okay, sure. So what do we got to do now?
Mine's doing that too, like the same thing Joe's is doing.
Oh, geez, Blake.
Oh, so I guess we need to figure out why that's happening. So I'm going back to screen share.
Okay,
And
okay,
see if I can figure out why
take me on. Here.
FileZilla, saying, what was the error message? Cannot load XML file?
Invalid XML file. Wait a minute, I'll go back and look, tell you exactly what it says. When I get there, or that's right, we got out of FileZilla. Oh, I'll just do it again. I'll tell you exactly what it says. Invalid XML file, error loading XML. And cancel that.
It's a matter of overwriting the password. So in that next message box, maybe click don't save passwords.
Oh, okay, let's try that. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Because our password, where does it say? Where am I putting don't save passwords?
After you close that, there was another error message pop up, or another message box pop up saying something about.
Oh, let's try this then. So I'm going to go ahead and let it error, and then that, and then don't save passwords.
Well, it shows an error message. Oh, so somebody reported renamed the file it shows in the error message so it can create a new one, but it didn't even.
FileZilla is already connected to the server. Okay. It just connected. We said
it is connected?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's connected too. After I said not to say password.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So apparently it was somewhere in the saving passwords. I guess it got confused on passwords and passkeys. And yeah, my Windows, I did that thing where it hid my taskbar again. I have to.
Lucky you. Okay, so
Yeah.
so we got that fixed now. Where are we going now?
Okay, so now we should be seeing something like this. You see that EC2-user?
Oh yeah, we want to. Okay, hang on. Let me get mine.
Yeah. Then down at the bottom, there's that file I put in the wrong place. So remember, we went up 2 levels. So we need to do the same thing. Up 2 levels of directories back to the root.
Where are we going here?
So in the top.
I see. E2 user. Okay, I see. Back on the right side.
Yeah. So just like we did from PuTTY, we need to go up 2 levels to get back to the root, and from there we can get to.
Okay. How did I get up? How did I? Okay, and I'm working on the remote site side, right?
Yes.
There at the top. So how am I going up? How am I going up two levels?
Well, you just click on that folder at the top.
Oh.
So the very top folder, click on that, and you should see a whole bunch of folders.
Right.
And down near the bottom, they're in alphabetical order. So down at the bottom is the var.
Var, yeah.
And inside of that is www. And then then the
Wait a minute,
HTML file.
oh, wait a minute. I have to tell it to, oh, there it is. Bar, and then I got to go way down here and then Never Land to www.
And then the HTML file, and then we should see that one we created down at the bottom.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's in the bottom. I see it. It's under CGI. It's down below CGI bin.
Yep. So I know this has gone on a while. We only have one more step. I want to look at the error message real quick. So let's create a file and try to upload it this way. So if we go to the text editor.
So I'm going to the I'm in, okay. Well, oh, I see. Okay, I'm in that thing. So where am I going now?
So we need to upload our web pages to that HTML folder. So we need a test window and upload.
Okay, so where am I going? So we're going into Notepad++ or something?
Yeah, or whichever text editor you want to use.
Got it.
I'm going to do an abbreviated version here. Actually, I'm going to put in something useful. So this just has a PHP tag. And in for the echo, and then we want to echo this pre-built function PHP info. It's a function, so parentheses.
Hang on a second. Can you wait just a second here?
Oh yeah.
Please. Where am I even? Okay. Let me get my stuff down so I can see what you're doing. Okay. PHP. Okay. Echo PHP. So we're going to echo. What does your thing say?
Echo PHP info, and then that's a function, so we need parentheses.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a pre-built one. So
Okay.
that is actually an entire web page. That echoes back our doc type declaration and everything. It's a really useful thing. So I figured I'd show. This seemed like a good place to show that.
Okay, so I'm having to catch up here.
And then save it as a .php file.
So echo. So I'm echo. Wait a minute. Now I'm lost again. Darn it. Let me look at yours again.
Echo PHP info is one word.
Info is one word. Okay.
Yep. And then parentheses.
I think you've just scrambled my brains. Okay. Info, and then closing PHP tag.
Mm-hmm.
Or just a question mark and a caret.
Yeah. Yeah. That question mark at the end is optional. I just like to include that because if we have lots of tags, I find it useful to tell where the PHP tag ends.
Okay, so I have done that correctly.
Yeah, and then just save it as a .php file. And then we should be able to.
Well, okay, now am I already in the right, wait a minute, am I already in the right place, I guess?
Well, wherever you normally save them, but in FileZilla, we can navigate to any place on our computer.
Wait a minute. Save as. If only put it somewhere.
I was already looking at the right folder, and then
and I'm not even close. I mean, I'm so far screwed up now. I don't even know where the hell I'm putting this. Wait a minute. I know where your stuff is. Oh God, Christian, I'm having to hurry, and this is not working. This is just not working.
Oh, no hurry. We have
please
two instructions to type into Eddie, and then I am
so freaking confused right now. I don't even know where I'm at. I'm just going to throw it somewhere in here.
Yeah, as long as you can find it, just take note of where you put it.
Okay, so this I just call it test.php. Yeah,
that'll work. And I have to refresh the view here. But once we have that, those who have used FileZilla before know that we should be able to just click and drag it over to the other side. But
that ain't going to work. Let's just be honest, okay? It ain't going to work.
Yeah, there's an error. I wanted to see the error before
whoa. You're coming up with errors, and I didn't even try to move the dumb thing. So wait a minute. Where does the error come up?
Up at the top, all the.
Oh, wait, no. You're not understanding me. I've saved the file somewhere in my file structure. I have to move it to FileZilla. Is that where I find the error? Or where do I even get this error?
So can you see my screen, Joe?
Yeah.
So whenever
and so you're navigating to where you've got that file you saved.
yes.
Okay.
Then when I grab it and try to bring it over.
That's what I'm doing. Okay, hang on. We're getting there. I think I know where I put it. Okay, that's why I got parallel structures here, so it should be easy to move things. Okay.
Yeah. So you just grab it and drag it over, and it's going to say in red, it should say permission denied.
Transfers, one file could not be transferred. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Up in the top.
Yeah, the stuff from the server. And that's because our folder only had, I'll pull it up on my screen. It'll go up to that. Notice permissions. If you're used to working with Windows, you might not be familiar with this, but in Linux systems, we have to say what permission everything has.
Okay.
This first group of letters.
Wait a minute. Well, let me minimize my screen so I can see yours. What first group of letters?
Over on in this column for permissions.
The column for permissions. Wait a minute. Now I'm all fouled up. Where the heck are your permissions? Oh, there.
You see them?
Oh, there it is. I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one is the owner. That's on the server itself.
Right.
The second one is public. So when we access it through FileZilla here, we're on the public one. So
right.
We need a W in that group. It's set so that we can say, we should be able, like there's a file permissions thing, but if we change it here, it like won't keep it. So I'll click change it.
Okay. Don't go too far ahead of me here, because I'll be totally. So where are we going to go to fix this?
We have to go to Putty to fix it.
Oh, okay. So I'm going back to Putty. Alrighty.
Yeah, because now
we're in Putty.
Right now, Putty has full owner access. So if we go up a level, because we need to look at the HTML folder. Right now, mine says I'm in the HTML folder.
So does mine.
That's the one I need to look at. So change directory CD ... to go up a level. ... And now do ls space -l, and that'll show us permissions. So we can see the HTML folder, that second group only has X and R. Execute and read. We don't have write access.
I guess I can't. I guess my eyeballs aren't good enough. I'm trying to find out where you're seeing that.
So do you see after you type ls-l?
Yeah, I see two lines.
Total.
I see what CGI-bin has, and I see what HTML has. I got a whole line of junk.
And that very first thing in that line of junk.
Yeah.
See how it's drwxr-xr-x?
Yeah.
That's on permissions.
Right.
So drwxr, that's owner permissions, which unlimited, read, write, execute, write. Execute, read.
Right.
The second one is public permissions. So it just says execute and read. So we can execute a PHP script and we can read text.
Okay. So the second, after the dash, the second thing, it's only showing me. Okay, so I got to change that. Okay.
Yeah. So to change that, we type chmod.
Change mod.
And then space.
Right.
And then O for public.
O.
Plus W for add write access. No space there. O plus W.
O plus W. Yeah.
And we want to do that for the HTML folder.
HTML. So I just type HTML then.
Yes.
So and then I hit the button. Okay, so then if I do ls dash 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 l, or the to
Yep.
make sure that it happened.
We should see a right in that second group. Actually, the third group went away. You see a W on the HTML second group permission?
Yeah.
So we now have right permissions. So if we go back to FileZilla, we have to
We should be able to drag it.
reconnect. So
We
what
should
I
be-
always do, we have to refresh our connection. So what I always do is I just re-enter the port number.
Wait, how do I reorder the port number? Okay.
Yeah, we have to disconnect and reconnect. So I usually just
wait. It says establishing a new tab or not.
abort previous connection.
Oh, okay. Because I want to overwrite it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to log off and back on, basically. You could also close FileZilla and open it back up. That would have the same effect.
Okay.
Actually, that would have a better effect because if we looked at permissions, it's still going to show the wrong thing because we haven't fully refreshed it yet.
Wait. So are you telling me I just did the wrong thing, or?
Oh, no, that's correct. Closing FileZilla and reopening FileZilla completely starting over would do more. It didn't, not everything on the screen updated.
Which means I have to go back. Means I have to go back through my file structure and find myself again.
But now we should be able to drag that file over.
Okay, so where am I at? Whoa, because I'm having to redo my file structure because it went somewhere else. I went bar and www to HTML. There we are. So now I can take it and drag it supposedly.
Yep, just drag it over there, and it should.
It says it's finished in one file. What told me one? Well, no, it drug it over.
Yeah, as long as errors are in red and a bigger font, so they stand out. So
it gave me another little funny box on my screen, but not in the top part. Okay, that's all right. So we've got. So now I have
up there. Let's go check it. And so if we go back to our browser.
Okay.
And then type in the name of that file. So I called mine info, whatever you called yours.
Test, I think. Okay, so I want to go. Oh yeah. So basically, I'm going back to where I was before and just change the name of the file.
That's all I did.
Not found. Requested URL was not found on the server. Well, wait a minute. I called a PHP file, didn't I? Yeah. All right.
Everything spelled correctly?
I thought so. Nope. Oh, I see what happened. I named it something that's already a test PHP file.
Oh. Two test PHPs.
Yeah.
But if you can see my screen, that's what you can see that function echoes back an entire HTML page talking about the PHP.
Right. Well, that's what mine is.
All that.
Okay,
yeah,
now can I
really useful.
I have a question.
Yes.
Well, it looks like I can rename that file, so I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
What am I going to call it? File one word.php. Okay, I just renamed it, so I'm going to try it again in the browser and see if it works. See if it goes. Okay. Nope, wouldn't find my file.
We'll look into it because that's all we're going to cover. It uploaded it though, right?
You mean on FileZilla?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything's working right. It's just There's probably a naming thing somewhere. We will look at that in a little while. But that's what I wanted to cover there. We probably should have took a break in there sometime. I know that was really, really long. I kept thinking, oh, we're really close. And
Well, I kept screwing us up.
I apparently haven't looked in the clock in a minute. So I assume everybody's probably ready for a break, right?
I'm ready for a nap.
And then, yeah, if it uploaded on FileZilla, then everything should be working at this point. And it's just little things like typos in the names, or it is a Linux server, so capitalization matters again,
Well,
and things
yeah,
like that. But we will look at that in a little while. That was a long time, so why don't we go ahead and take a break? 10 minutes sound good to everybody? Or should we take 15? Think 10. Let's go ahead and take 10.
Let's take 10.
Yeah, because 15 minutes, we'd probably end up getting bored. Be like, okay, yeah, it's about time to get back. So it's 2:44, so we'll be back here at 2:54. And I hope that wasn't too overwhelming. I know that was a lot of information.
Well, it was overwhelming for me, Chris, because I'm an idiot. So we'll take that into consideration.
That is kind of why I wasn't exactly happy when the switch to AWS, because as you saw there, Linux and server admin courses kind of need to be a prereq for everything now. Otherwise, because we have to do that stuff, and every class that's going to use
that would mean that you really couldn't have a certificate program for web design because you'd have to have too many classes.
Exactly. So for our class, the virtual server, the virtual host that we used, right out of the box, that's going to run everything we need to do.
Well,
So,
yeah, like I said, with mine, it didn't do it. But remember, with my project, I wasn't seeing stuff, and then you were finding it.
Yeah.
That one day we went through, and I couldn't get anything to show up, and you said, "Well, let me look," and you went to my thing, and poof, you saw everything. So I said, "Boy, I'm not touching it."
or free domain hosts are a little bit easier to use. Those will be sufficient for this class. We don't necessarily need the AWS. I just wanted, really, I set it up for a playground for y'all because eventually you're probably going to want to know your way around AWS.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's take a break. I need a
break.
Need a cup of coffee.
Thanks. Yeah.
I'm a little thirsty here. So 2:45. We'll meet back at 2:55.